If you like to have a little bit of tropical flair in your garden, one of my favorite plants is the elephant ear, which you can see I'm growing right here. There's a lot of different kind of elephant ear out there. Many are hardy around to zones 8. I'm here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, zones 7A, 6B, and that means for me, in my garden, they are relegated to either a container plant or a plant that I will grow in the garden and then dig up at the end of the season and overwinter them. If you live in zones 8 to 12, generally that means you can grow them right in the ground or in containers, and they will subsist outside all year long. If you live in like zones 8, they may have a little bit of a short dormancy in the winter time. Zones 9 to 12, they will just look like this all year long. Now, the common name elephant ear corresponds to two different genus, both the Alocasia and the Colocasia, both of which are part of the Araceae or the aroid plant family. And they have a lot of similarities, but there are a few key differences between the Alocasias and the Colocasia. I'm growing the Colocasia, which you can see the foliage is a little bit thinner. The leaves will kind of droop over. They have a little bit of an overflowing look about them. They're very quick growers. Whereas the Alocasia, the foliage tends to be a little bit thicker, maybe even a little bit leathery or waxy. The veining on the backs of the leaves tends to be a little bit more prominent and pronounced. And I find that they don't tend to grow, well, some of them don't tend to grow as fast as most of the Colocasias do. The Alocasias also tend to be a little bit more upright in their growth habit, and there's a few very well-known Alocasias that have been grown as houseplants for a very long time. So if you have an elephant ear that's a houseplant elephant ear, chances are it's an Alocasia. Now, within the two genus of Alocasia and Colocasia, there are tons of different kinds of hybrids and cultivars of elephant ears out there. So when you're purchasing an elephant ear, the first thing that you really want to make sure you take note of is its ultimate size, because some can easily get 6 feet tall and wide, maybe not 6 feet wide, but definitely 6 feet tall, creating a very large, robust plant, while others, like mine right here, will max out at about 3, maybe 4 feet tall. So the size of the plant definitely is going to dictate the size of the container that you want to be growing them in. A 6 foot tall elephant ear should be grown in like a 24-inch container. Whereas this Colocasia Redemption that I'm growing, it's noted to max out at about 3 to 4 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. So I have planted 3 plants in this tall rectangular planter right here. And as you can see, the plants started off very small in the container, and about 2 months later, it's absolutely filling out this rectangular planter. And as summer continues to progress, we're just in the first couple of weeks of summer, it should even fill out even more so. And if you're growing elephant ears for the first time and you're not quite sure how large of a container to use for your plant, there's not really any scientific rule of thumb that should, size of the container. But if you find that your plants are drying out and you have to re-water them every other day, chances are it's in too small of a pot, and it would be a good opportunity for you to transplant to a larger size container. Now, certain elephant ears you can find sold as a tuber. The Colocasia is also known as taro, which, if you've ever been to Hawaii, taro is a very popular food stuff that they actually will eat there, meaning that the tubers of the Colocasia are indeed edible. Alocasia, not so much. But that being said, you can sometimes find the tubers that you can plant and grow them that way. I generally like to start from small plants, and then because they're such rapid growers, you can start from a quite small container, quite small plant, and they will absolutely grow very robustly throughout that growing season. Now, both the Alocasia and the Colocasia will generally like a lot of sun, but should typically be shielded from the afternoon intense sunlight. The really hot afternoon sun can totally scorch the foliage of your plants. So here in my garden, in this little area, it gets really nice sunlight until about 1 o'clock, and then it's shaded. And this seems to be a very lovely location for these plants to be growing in. Now, the one key difference between the two kinds of elephant ear is that Colocasia, in fact, loves moisture so much that they can even be grown in standing water and they will be totally fine. Alocasia, on the other hand, they love their moisture, but they're never going to be wanting to sit in water, you know, over a prolonged period of time. But regardless, you should always use a super high quality potting mix when you're planting them. The richness of that potting mix is going to provide it all of the nutrients that they need to grow really nice and quickly, as well as really keep them hydrated throughout the growing season. By using a nice high quality potting mix, you're not even going to need to fertilize them because the potting mix should be full of all of the nutrients they really need. Now, as you can see, I do have a layer of raw wood chips on the top of my pot. That helps to really lock moisture into the container, and that's going to keep them from drying out. The Colocasia in particular, they do not like to be overly dry in that soil. It can definitely cause wilting of the foliage, and if that happens, then those wilted leaves, unlike other plants that might wilt, these ones won't bounce back. You're just gonna wanna remove those. Now, likewise, as your plants are growing, you can see lots of small leaves that are just getting started. These plants are really continually producing new leaves, but in order for them to continually produce new fresh leaves that look really good, they'll start small and then they'll get bigger over time, but you're going to wanna remove the old leaves that look like this. This is just simply a leaf that is old, so just cut it off as far down as you can and just remove it. Now, leaves that look like this, which aren't horrible but aren't great either, that's up to your discretion. I will generally just cut them off as well. You can see, cut it down as far as you can, which for me is just right there, and I'll just add that to the compost. Now, in my experience growing elephant ear, the most common pest that you should be on the lookout would be spider mites. Spider mites will generally, you'll see them kind of creating webs in these little crevices right here specifically, as well as on the back sides of your leaves. So if you see any little webbing or netting, or if you notice that a lot of your leaves are starting to look, get brown all at the same time, definitely look to see if you have any spider mites or any other pests. But generally, when you're growing them outside, they tend to be pretty resilient. Now, as I mentioned, I'm still in the middle of summertime here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, but at the end of this season, I will be overwintering them. So definitely stay tuned, subscribe to my channel so that you can get an update. If you are curious how to overwinter your elephant ear, I will be making a follow-up video on how to do that. But for now you know a little bit more about the elephant ears, how to grow them successfully, and how to enjoy their beautiful foliage like this. And if you're looking for a nice little tall rectangular planter, definitely go check the description below where you will find a link to this really lovely planter that I'm using here. Super sleek. Anyways, thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you soon. Ciao.